there's the post-war economic boom. White people get a little bit of scratch and they desperately want to run away from black people. So bada bing, bada boom, the suburbs are born. And sometimes your lobotomized housewife mother doesn't feel like making a nutritious dinner of cigarette butts encased in neon green jello. So the family orders pizza and watches Howdy Doody and pretend like they didn't just put all those Japanese people in internment camps. Hi, everybody. Welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Kaveh Taherian.
And I'm Hannah Hillam. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the cream show. Hannah's telling us about her creaming, well, I don't know.
I accidentally had cow milk last night, okay? I legitimate cream. Because it was in something I wanted, okay? I chose it.
It wasn't like you were deliberately trying to have cream. It was just by accident that it happened.
No, I chose it. I knew there was cow milk in there, and I was like, but I really want this. What's it called?
What was it?
I can't remember the name for it. Boba. That's what it is.
Boba.
I forgot the word for boba. So tells you how we're doing.
You're still recovering from ingesting it. I understand. I can't drink milk. If I drink straight milk, I'll I won't die, but everybody around me will from what my insides are pouring out.
Yeah, same.
Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome. Look, we're just following up from last week's episode on flatulence, okay? I don't know.
That's true. We're practicing what we preach. Of course, this week we actually have come back from Chicago.
Yes.
Which is nice. We had a great time. I know last week we were like, oh, we're back from Chicago, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, now we're actually back from it. Or was last week when we were in Chicago? I don't know. Anyway, it's great.
I don't know. We had a lot of fun. Thanks you for everybody coming to the booth.
Thanks you for everybody coming booth, Michael.
Family love booth, Michael. I think we quote that every time we record. I think everyone's in on a joke and they're just being like, yeah, keep recording. And it's just us repeating Arrested Development. And
part of it is the fact that Apple will either just autocorrect my text to shorten stuff. So it doesn't so half the time it's like I have to. Here's the thing. This is not important, but I'm going to tell the story anyway.
We'll put it in Patreon.
When you and I text back and forth, there's always this mad scramble where if you send a text and it somehow is grammatically incorrect or it's missing a word, you have to do it as fast as possible to edit and correct it before the other one makes fun of you. Like that's 10 absurd. Times a week this happens.
Why do we do that?
That's straight sibling energy.
That is, because I have to, and I feel this need. I'm like, he messed up. Go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And then you're really fast. I will say you're really fast.
The real question is why do you do it? Because my older sister was an English major. So that's where I get it from. It's just like, she'd be like, oh, really? Like you're using this word grammatically incorrect? So
it's honestly just to bother you.
Oh, okay,
and also, one of my favorite classes was English.
Nerd, you talk Shakespeare good, to use the terms of our friend good. Miles.
Shakespeare.
Doth.
Look.
Doth. Anyway, we're back. We wanted to give a shout out at the top of the episode to our friend Megan, who is a listener.
Megan.
Thank you for taking us around. Was it the Harold Washington branch?
Harold Washington branch of the Chicago Public Library. Megan came to the booth and we got talking because, of course, everyone who listens to this show is just versions of us. So we got talking, and she was like, I work at the library, and I can show you some cool stuff. And we were both like, okay, intensely fixated. I don't think she expected us to look her straight in the eye and say, please take us to the library.
Poor Megan was just being polite, and we're like, yes, we will take you up on that offer on your day off. Please take us back to your work.
What time? On your day off. Yeah, exactly. We don't get to you have a doctor's appointment. Take us to your office. But yeah, Megan, that was really cool. We got to look at some really cool stuff in the archive or the special collections.
Yeah, all the crazy stuff. The building was beautiful. It was really cool.
Gorgeous.
Also, it just made me feel like, yeah, cool. This show is fun because we meet, like you said, other versions of ourselves who were like, I have something weird and interesting to show you, and we're like, let's do it.
Let's do it. I don't think you guys realize how much we not only yes and each other, but literally every opportunity that comes into our lives.
It's true.
And I'm glad you finally enjoy the show.
Yeah. It took 66 episode to get to it, but finally I found one sliver of something that's worth anything.
And it was getting to go behind the scenes at a library. So
I felt like super VIP that day. I was telling Sarah, and I was like, we're going to get a private tour of the library. No
we got
big
to
deal.
see lots of cool little tiny buildings. Miniatures.
It was awesome. Oh, right, the miniatures. Anyway, thank you again to Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
For taking the time. But other than that, I think we can get into the show. Am I up first this week, or are you up first?
Yeah, you're up first.
Oh, I'm up first. Okay. So, like we said, we're back from Chicago. We, particularly the last day after we wrapped out the convention, we had some truly mid pizza. And this is not a reflection of Chicago. This is because we were close to the convention center and the available options were very like convention center-y kinds of pizza.
And we were not about to walk. Sorry, but we were like dead. I'll put a picture up on the YouTube of you with the box on your head while we were walking there. And it'll tell everybody exactly the vibe of the whole party. So
I forgot that you took that photo. So when you sent it to me, I was laughing very hard. I was like, I must have looked like an insane person walking in the street.
Box head.
But anyway, it was a bit disappointing, and I was like kind of sad, and and of course we got there, and I was like, what if I just eat as much pizza as possible to compensate for the fact that it doesn't taste very good? And sadly, that still didn't really work.
It's funny because I went to the bathroom and I came back and the pizza was gone. So first of all, I was looking at you the whole time and you were like, not in this world, not in this realm. There was like video behind us on the screen of like the Ukraine war. And then next to us was like these screaming kids. And you were just like,
oh, right.
Just dead
and then
inside.
People were singing really loud at the table because the music was also playing full blast.
Yeah. You weren't there. So you ate you ate a lot of pizza and it wasn't good.
I blacked out. Yeah, and it wasn't good.
He blacked out and there was no pizza in front of him anymore.
It's honestly what happens. It's not an uncommon thing for me. But anyway, so suffice it to say, I've had pizza on the mind. And
the first episode of this podcast was you talking about pizza.
I think about pizza way too much. I'm like a Ninja Turtle. I was thinking a lot this week about like how pizza gets around, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm super tired and overworked and I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, I started to research the idea for this tab and it's really stupid. But of course I was like, I can't back down now. I have to just keep doing this. So this is dumb, but I don't care. I'm just going to do it anyway. So today I'm going to discuss a couple of inventions that led to pizza delivery becoming the most important thing since sliced pizza.
But what did they do before sliced pizza? Just eat it
just
like
you had to eat the entire pie. You had to shotgun it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the days.
For me, apparently, those days never stopped. I'll just eat the entire pie.
That happened last week.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that we had really good tavern-style pizza the night before, or 2 nights before, which was...
We did. Did I tell you? It. Oh, I think I as an aside, just more to the pizza lore. There was a day a few weeks ago where I had been... Oh, you know what it was? I may have said this on the show. I don't remember, so we'll cut it if I did. But it was after Seattle, and I came back and I had like 2 deadlines. It's been a very busy time for me these past few weeks.
Oh, yeah, you could say that.
And it was like, it was like the ramp up to the convention and then doing the convention and then coming back and going straight into work and then working through another weekend. So it was like 2-3 weeks of just like no days off. And then I finally had a Saturday and Sarah was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to eat an entire pizza and I don't want to share it with you. And she was like, that's cool. I'll just go hang out with my friends. So rather than getting one large pizza, I got 2 medium pizzas from 2 different places.
This made me laugh so hard because he just dropped that lore on me. He's like, yeah, I got one from here and from here. And then he just kept talking. I was like, hold on. 2 different places? You got 2 separate pizzas from 2 different places.
2 separate places.
I don't know why, but it was like the most you thing. I can't even figure out why. It's because it's just very particular. You're like, I want this kind and I also want this kind.
And I want this kind and I don't want to have to decide between the 2. And also I just get them smaller so I can just eat the entire pizza. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because you did that at the restaurant both times.
It's true. I did do that there. That's right.
You did. You're like, what do you guys want? Okay, I don't care. I want both. So I'm going to get what I want. Which you were like, couldn't do. You were like, I'm too polite to get what I want.
Oh, it was stressful.
Sorry, I'm high energy today, and you were low energy today. Okay, good.
Anyway, so that was just part of the lore of me eating entire pizzas by myself. So anyway, our story begins with the largest pizza chain in the world, Domino's Pizza.
Oh, Domino's.
Originally named Dominic's after its owner found. Did you not know that?
I don't like that. That's upsetting. Why would they? Oh, all right, whatever. Okay.
Well, so here's the thing. It's originally owned by a man named Dominic, and it was founded in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Oh. Now, Dom sold the fledgling business to brothers Tom and Jim Monaghan for a mere $500 back in 1960, although it also came with about $2,000 worth of debt.
Oh,
but
so
overall,
he gave it to them for money.
It's a pretty good deal. Yeah. So the original owner named it was just Dominic's Pizza. And then he sold it to these 2 dudes, Tom and Jim. Now, the popularity of pizza had exploded, particularly after World War II.
Dominic Monaghan? Sorry, you said Monaghan and Dominic.
Tom and Jim Monaghan.
Oh, okay, I thought we were talking about Mary Brandybuck from Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. No, Mary and Pippin had opened up Domino's Pizza back in 1960, which is something that they would have done. They'd
hand me a big fat joint, and they'd say, "Come in and eat some pizza."
You're part of this world. You have to eat a pizza. I don't know. I'm not on my best.
I think you are.
So obviously World War II, all those GIs were using the Michelin Guide to find the best place to get a slice when they were stationed in Italy. But, then there's the post-war economic boom. White people get a little bit of scratch and they desperately want to run away from black people. So bada bing, bada boom, the suburbs are born. And sometimes your lobotomized housewife mother doesn't feel like making a nutritious dinner of cigarette butts encased in neon green jello. So the family orders pizza and watches Howdy Doody and pretend like they didn't just put all those Japanese people in internment camps.
Dude, you said you're not on your best right now. You're not your best right now, but I beg to differ. That was beautifully constructed. You brought in 7 other episodes.
I was very angry yesterday, just reading the news. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, in that town, so Eastern Michigan University was in the same town as Dominic's. So things went okay as long as school was in session. Because as we all know, college kids will essentially eat anything. Mm-hmm. But once it was like winter or summer break, sales would take a huge hit for pizzas. And it took such a hit that Jim got super annoyed and was like, this business sucks. Eat shit, bro. I'm out. And basically forces Tom to buy him out. And he's like, I'm leaving. And pretty soon Tom was the only guy left running the business.
Oh, Tom.
Siblings, am I right? Can't trust them.
Ugh. All they do is correct your texts and tell on you. I don't know. That was my siblings and I was always like, if you tell mom anything, I'm going to hit you. And it was violent. We got violent. We would literally. And then my mom was like, you're 6 years older than your brother. You have to stop hitting an 8-year-old. And I was like, dang it. We would beat her up. Go on.
Anyway, so Tom, he's basically like, I'm basically up Schitt's Creek. I don't have a business partner anymore. And I have this business that's in debt. And now all these college kids aren't buying pizzas when I'm in the middle of the off season. So he's got to make money really quickly. So what does he do? He comes up with this idea to strip everything down to its bare bones. Just pizzas and drinks, one type of crust, and limited toppings. Because, of course, the more complicated things get, the longer they take to make, the less Zaz are sold. It's a very simple idea. So strips it down to the bare minimum, bare bones, and he hires a couple of extra dudes to help out and be delivery drivers. Okay. And pretty soon, they're the best game in town, getting you your pizzas delivered directly to your front door, which, ironically, at that time, you probably never would have let a Jewish person pass through, but that's besides the point.
Hey, you know what? Let's just pretend that.
Listen, America
that would never...
has been awful for a long time.
Yeah,
Stop pretending.
Reminder,
Stop pretending.
It was never great.
Right.
It was only great for middle-aged white dudes for 10 years. That's it.
Yeah. No, I just was all the stuff I was reading and all the videos I watched are just it was great. And then they go to the suburbs and suburb pubs and I'm like, that's called white flight.
No,
they were running away from
They didn't want their kids to be around other black people. They were we don't want to be around black people for really no reason besides fear mongering.
Also, we're not going to let them get houses that they can get pizzas delivered to. They're going to be refused.
So we're going to make the most boring, horrible sprawl that you've ever seen. And then that's going to take over America. And then now I can't walk to the store.
Sorry, I'm being very woke today.
Look, you've already, here's the thing. You can say one thing and I'll be like, I'm activated.
Yes.
I'm active. I hate the suburbs. I live in the suburbs. Woo! I hate it.
So these white kids are driving pizzas around town and not getting pulled over and harassed by the police, and business is great.
They're knocking on strangers' doors and being given money. Yeah, it can only happen in one place, and that is the suburbs. So wait, what year was this again?
This starts in 1960s when they found when they get the pizza place, when they get Dominic's.
Before this,
I forget the year that they actually transitioned to.
There was no what? Pizza delivery?
Oh no, but they were. There was pizza deliveries. That's what I'm gonna get into. Is
how
the game changed. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Go on.
At this time there is pizza delivery, but the pizzas aren't keeping super great. And there's some these weird, wacky ideas for delivery containers at the time of these weird metal containers. Most common was placing the pizza on a large plate and shoving it into a paper bag as if it was having a panic attack. So
that sounds awful. Here's your bag. They hand you a grease-soaked bag with a plate of pizza in it.
I mean, that's literally what they used to do, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Naturally,
no
it's an
gracias.
absolute disaster. The bag steams up and it makes everything all like limp dick and droopy, and the cheese slides off. There's grease
Cannot
everywhere.
abide a flaccid pizza. Okay? It's always what I say. I will say that to the day I die.
I love it. You heard it here first, folks. Hannah
You heard it
Hillam
here
cannot
first.
abide a flaccid pizza.
I need an erect slice of pizza. So stupid. Okay.
Rock
go.
hard.
Rock hard. Oh.
Woo. So also, you're really only kind of moving like one pie at a time.
Right.
It's not a very efficient way of doing it, and it was horrible. But Tom has an idea.
Oh, good.
What if you delivered pizzas like you delivered packages in the mail?
Like
Toss
the
it
mail.
in a box. And he comes up with this very specific design. First off, he uses corrugated board. And what's that? You might ask. Thankfully, the internet exists, and I found someone who was very excited to explain the many nuances of box making.
Oh, I love that.
So I pulled up some images. This was actually articles from like early 2000s internet, and it was even better.
Ooh, okay. See, that is when it was fun and good.
Yeah. So here's an image of what corrugated board looks like before it's glued together.
Yeah, there it is.
So essentially, what it looks like is it's like a sandwich where there's like one piece on the top and one piece on the bottom. And the middle of it is like this wavy kind of board. So if you look at any pizza box and you look at it on this from the horizontal angle and you look at it from the side, you'll see it.
You'll see it, yeah. That's kind of how most cardboard boxes are, though, too. A lot of them have
a lot
corrugated.
of them are. Yeah. It depends on what they're being used for. But specifically in regards to, so this is directly taken from Power Packaging, the untapped pizza profit builder, pizza packaging overview and history.
That is so
it's
specific.
coralconcepts.com/pizza packaging history. It's amazing.
Oh, I love discovering those little gems that are still there.
This is like the golden age of the internet where you're like, I wish I could find like somebody who's way too into like pizza packaging and like how boxes work, and then give me an exact explanation with patents and drawings and stuff in it. But
first you have to scroll through literally the first 7 pages of Google to find this at all, because there was no Google. What did we do?
I'm just going to send you the website so you can see the bright yellow background that the text is on, which makes it even better.
This is incredible.
Right. This is old school.
It barely loads. Hold on.
This article describes the often ignored but high potential world of pizza packaging. Virtually everyone has quote unquote experienced hundreds of pizza boxes, yet few know anything about the vessel that carries their favorite food. I love this so much.
This is beautiful. That neon green. Also the guy, the pizza delivery guy with his, you could tell they made that like in like Microsoft, whatever.
Microsoft Paint or something. Yeah.
For the latest cost-saving new green pizza boxes, click here. Where does that take us?
Oh, and then there's downside of the traditional box, which is a whole other article, which is about the pros and cons of structural options of paper versus plastic.
This is so good. Oh, look at the guy who wrote it. Oh,
yeah, he's amazing.
He looks like he's fly fishing. I love this so much.
Concepts. Anyway, he's got a mustache. Yellow. He looks like everyone's dad from the 80s. Yeah. God bless this guy. Anyway,
who got a hold of a computer.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, so from the website, it says paper packaging is often divided into 2 groups based on 2 types of board used in making it. Number 1, paper board, also known as box board, carton board, or cardboard. And 2, corrugated board, also known as corrugated fiber board, corrugated paperboard, and combined board. For decades, the public has referred to corrugated board as cardboard, but this is technically incorrect. Paperboard is sometimes referred to a single sheet of very thick paper. The original pizza packaging was made of paperboard mostly because it was cheaper. So the most...
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's not even correct to call it cardboard.
Correct. It's actually not cardboard. It's corrugated board. So the most common corrugated board is a single wall board, sort of what I was just telling you about. It's also known as double face board. It consists of 2 outer sheets of flat paper called facings or liners glued to a fluted or corrugated inner sheet called medium. So why does this work so well, right? Plastic would insulate it from air movement, creating a soggy pizza. It just traps all the steam. It's all about steam. So paper bags can't handle the weight of a large pizza, nor the drippings or grease absorption. Yeah. However, each flute in the corrugated medium is a channel for steam to potentially travel through. Unlike styrofoam, containerboard allows steam to pass, resisting condensation buildup inside of the box's interior.
Oh, that's genius.
Right?
I hadn't even thought about that. Like, why do pizza boxes work so well? They do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like similar. I want to say that reminds me of like the Roman baths. That's how they would heat the floors.
With
They had
corrugated
like
board?
these with cardboard. No, with yeah, that's where it came from. No, like these little like pipes that are like these little flutes that you could like push the hot water through. I don't remember. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Furthermore, Tom comes up with a box design that folded into its shape that required no adhesive or stapling shut. So, your classic
Yeah.
pizza box. So before that, that wasn't a thing. Lastly, they could stack all those unmade pizza boxes many more at a time, which was very useful in a cramped little pizza kitchen. So basically, if you see a pizza box that's not been, folded into a correct pizza box, it's just a flat piece of corrugated board.
It's just
so
like
you could just stack
it's-
like you just stack them all the way up.
Hundreds.
And it's very useful in that small space. And one more thing, when assembled, you could actually now stack the form boxes, allowing delivery drivers to take like a stack of pies on every outing.
Oh, right.
Right? So the next thing you know, business is booming. And it's basically, this is the crux of what is so crazy to me, is that inventing a specific kind of box to deliver pizza was a weird bottleneck that was holding back like an entire industry.
The whole industry. Look, if you think about it, that's literally how it is. It's like you can't just show up with a bag of pizza.
I mean, you
no
can.
one's gonna
it just
ever,
is like not
you
very
can,
good.
but no one's ever gonna do that. That's like, this is so cool. I didn't even think
Isn't
about
it
this.
wild? Yeah.
Because it's like, it has to be a specific box. It has to be.
Basically, just by
Wild.
inventing the box, the entire pizza industry kind of explodes. And
Took off.
crucially, Tom famously never patented the design.
Oh, Tom.
So pretty soon, everyone just copied it without having to pay, allowing the pizza industry to reach insane heights.
Yeah. Dude, these men, so far, all these people are like, well, I'm selling this for $500. Oh, I'm out. Oh, I'm not going to copyright this. Like, these are some not great business decisions.
I don't know. I think Domino's has been pretty okay for itself in the long run.
Fine. Yeah, you're right. I still love a good Domino's, even though it is kind of gross sometimes.
I love a Domino's. Speaking of tavern style, their thin crust
Ooh,
Domino's
they have
is
good thin
basically
crust.
like their version of a tavern. I
Yeah.
love it. My mom calls it the hors d'oeuvre pizza. She's like, because it's so light. It's like having an hors d'oeuvre. She doesn't have that accent, but that's what I
she's
say.
right. Also, your mom sounds fancy.
She is very fancy.
I've
My
met your
mom's
mom
very
once.
Chic.
She was
That's what she always
incredibly-
loves to say.
Yeah. She
My mom's
is.
like,
She
it's
is
so
pretty
chic.
chic.
That's her favorite word. She'd be like, this pizza's so chic.
I love the idea of her eating Domino's and calling it chic. I want the chic pizza.
It's very chic. It's not like the weird doughy gross one. It's the chic pizza.
I mean, I agree with her. The doughy pizza makes me want to. I can't have it. First of all, it makes my tummy hurt.
Too much cream in it. Anyway,
My favorite pizza topping:
just cream.
cream.
Just I bake
Dairy
it and then
cream.
I cover it in like heavy whipping cream at the
Yep.
end and just throw it into the box.
Yeah. Ew.
Anyway, so that's sort of that's basically the idea of the box. But wait, there's more.
No.
What happens when you got to deliver a bunch of pizzas to many different places or to somewhere far away? The corrugated
They're gonna-
boxes can only
yeah.
do so much. Won't they still all get cold?
And
Back in
like, kind of
1982.
heavy and soggy.
Yeah, a seamstress from Chicago named Ingrid Kosar had a hunch. What if there was another level of heat retention? Because you can't drive around with an oven in your car. So what if there was some kind of insulated bag?
Ingrid, woo! Love Ingrid. Good for her.
She's doing it. So funny enough, she calls Domino's. I don't know if she calls like corporate or like some scientist that like food scientist that works there. Or
Hi,
whatever,
Domino's.
But,
It's Ingrid.
hey.
Do I have an idea?
Do you want to
for
order
you?
a pizza or do you have
It's like, no, I'm going to change your whole lives, all your lives.
No, so she has this idea. I don't know who. Again, she gets in touch with somebody at Domino's corporate and kind of asks them all this information. So essentially, the information they give her is that the ideal bag would keep a pizza 140 degrees or warmer for 45 minutes. That's specifically
Whoa.
the amount of time that they would need. That's like the most. Because again, it's like so much of this has to just do with heat. It's like heat retention and then also letting steam out. So if you don't, if you let out too much, then it gets cold. If you don't let out enough, it gets soggy and keeps making like all the crust and everything warped. So it's like all these multiple layers of just being like, like it's like partially you got to think it's sort of baking a little bit.
It's
additionally.
an exact science.
Yeah,
it seems like.
It's so funny because it also reminds me of like when you finish something, like when you finish a book, for example, you're like, I did it, and then you're like, no, you didn't. Now you have to get it printed, and then you have to go sell it. There's like half the battle of something.
A bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. You might think like, oh, I made this delicious pizza. And you're like, good, eat shit.
No.
Now you got to figure out a way to get it to somebody
Now
and
it's
it's
the
not
hard part.
ruined. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so consistently the problem with anything like this. It just happens over and over and over again. I think this is why so many of these people in like big companies are, what do they call them? Supply chain kind of like masters.
Yeah.
I brought this up before. It's like the people that know how to figure out that part of the crap are like as important as the people who actually make the product, ironically.
Well, and it's in every single industry. There is a supply chain genius who's there figuring out how to make everything run well, and you just never even notice. That's how good they are.
Or it's not even anything you even think about. Like I said, it's like, the pizza box is the thing that made pizza like the most like popular food in the country. Right.
It's the box and the exact like dimensions, and the flutes need to be a certain size, and the depending on how thick the crust is, and it's just crazy. It's crazy, and I just don't even. It's never affected me. You know what I mean?
You've never had like a bad pizza delivered, you mean? Or you've never even
of course I have. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, why have I never thought about that?
I think that's by design. You're not, the entire point is that you're not meant to think about it. Because if you did think about it, then you're like, and then you're angry about something. But if you don't think about it, it's like done
We are. I don't know if that's the normal reaction to things. Just want to, anyway.
So over the next year and a half, Ingrid works on a bunch of different bag designs using a variety of insulation materials and applying for patents the entire time that she's doing it. And she eventually landed on her signature bags. Sandwich a layer of food-safe polyester insulation between 1,000 denier cordura nylon on the outside of a slightly thinner nylon interior lining.
Interesting.
Apparently, if you're a person who has any idea what any of this means, that's like, oh my God, eureka. I don't really understand.
I mean, nylon is kind of like weirdly heat retaining.
Yeah. Oh, and also here's a picture of Ingrid.
Ingrid looks exactly like I wanted her to look. Ingrid, she's like this Midwestern mom. Yeah. She's got the Karen haircut. She's got a vest on. She's got the, that Midwestern half smile where it's like,
she's doing it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Love her.
Anyway, so this is how the insulated pizza bag was born. And this is my favorite quote from her, which I thought you would relate to. I've made all the mistakes, but somehow we've survived them. I don't know how exactly, but I just think it's sheer willpower. Bill and I used to say, Bill was her husband, this is something terrible to say, but we used to say, we're too stupid to quit. We just can't.
That's me.
That's us.
Ooh, I don't know when to stop. We're too stupid to quit. I love that.
Too stupid to quit. And last on the menu is the pizza saver, invented by Carmela Vitali, a 46-year-old woman living in Long Island who ordered a lot of large pizzas for her and her family. Now,
I love this.
As much as the corrugated boxes were revolutionary for transferring pies, they also had some drawbacks. Do you actually know what a pizza saver is?
No.
Okay, so the pizza saver is this, which I know you will know once you see it.
The little table.
Exactly, the little pizza
table. The baby
table.
That I was
the
like,
baby table that's in it. Yeah.
I made my little guys, little figures eat at it with me. I put like one olive on it and have my little figurine sit at the table with us. And it's funny, I saw my kid do the same thing, and I'm like, wow, genetics are insane.
Never stops.
Or just kid brain,
Anyway, so as I mentioned, the steam is always dissipating and the corrugation is absorbing it, but it's only meant to last a little while, just long enough to get the pizza from pizzeria to destination.
Yeah.
And eventually the boxes will start to sag after a little bit of time because it's just like, them's the rules. That's what happens. And this is a particularly bad problem for larger boxes, as the lid will begin to sag and eventually droop into the top of your pie.
Oh.
Right?
Hence the pizza table. I'm not calling it
Which is also
else.
really interesting because, again, she's like a mother of, I think she had like 2 kids and and a husband. So it's like they always would get large pizzas, and she's like, it seems to specifically be a problem that's happening with large pies. Like, I'm sure you've seen this plenty of times where you open up the lid and then like the cheese is like smeared on the top of the box.
If they don't have one of these things,
a hate crime. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened. It's so upsetting.
Yeah, depending on how desperate you are for pizza. I mean, I would just eat it off the,
I'm always desperate for pizza, but still, it's like when you get the pizza, when it comes to you, and it's like you're like, look at what they did to my boy. It's so sad.
My sweet prince, my boy.
Sweet prince. So basically, a hot, sweaty mess. It's terrible.
Me, I'm a hot, sweaty mess.
Exactly. But fear not, Carmela too had a plan. Essentially, what looks like a mini circular table is placed in the middle of the pie, and it acts like a miniature atlas holding up the weight of the world of the pizza box. So it's essentially like a little shelf.
Oh, I love that book by Ayn Rand.
I actually thought I wanted to draw like Atlas holding up like the top of the pizza box, like while he's standing on a pizza, but I feel like that's a little too complicated.
It is also very niche, and you are so busy, so don't do that.
It's true. Also, she files a patent, but like look at the drawing of the patent, which I thought was awesome too.
Who drew that? I love that.
I'm not sure, but you see like a proper box. It looks more like an IUD or something.
It does. It looks like an alien IUD.
Yeah,
like, why
and then
would
it's
it
got
need
like the
3
side
prongs?
view of it, like when the box is closed, and then like the pizza is all shaded in. It's pretty cool looking though.
The handwriting, the text for figure 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Look how cool that is. The F. I'm looking at the handwriting. Pizza saver.
She too filed a patent for that. That was granted in 1985. And the rest is pizza history.
That's
I don't know.
Good one.
Whatever.
That made sense. I want pizza so bad right now. What have you done to me?
I wish we had eaten a bunch of pizza before we started this tab, but unfortunately I did not.
I had 1 piece of cheese.
I thought that it was really weirdly fascinating to think about bottlenecks that have nothing to do with the actual product. It's like how well the product itself is made, but how to get the product to people in a more efficient way.
Right. And how it actually made this whole business boom.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And the fact that Tom Monaghan didn't patent it. So it's generally seen that Domino's is the one that invented it.
Yeah.
It's not official. It's not like on the record books, but generally speaking, everyone's like, yeah, Tom. Yeah. So the legend goes. But I just think it's interesting that like when you don't patent something, it could go both ways. In one way, it's like, oh, it sucks that guy lost out on a lot of money, but also it's cool that everybody got pizza as a result of it in a much more efficient way.
And now I can have hot, crispy pizza delivered to my house.
Yeah, as crispy as within reason, but yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you.
Fun. Yeah, anyway, that's the tab about pizza boxes and pizza savers and the bags and everything. If you enjoy pizza, share this with a pizza.
Please send it to your pizza friend.
No, send this to a pizza. Literally, send this episode to a pizza.
Your friend that is a piece of pizza.
Or Pizza the Hut, if you know him, if you're familiar with him. That's a reference you probably don't get.
I do know that one.
You do know that one?
Yes.
Pizza the Hut. We'll send out for you.
Isn't that from Spaceballs?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes! I got scared for a second. I was like, is that from Spaceballs? That was the first movie Sean ever made me watch, and we were 14.
Nice.
He was like, you've not even seen Spaceballs? Sit down. And,
one of my earliest childhood memories is seeing Spaceballs in the theater and with my aunt and like my mom or something. And then we stayed after it finished, and then we watched it again because you could just sit in the theater. This is in the 80s.
You could kind of cheat.
Yeah. Now
people used to go in and just swap theaters all day when we did that.
Such a good part of our childhood was like sneaking into another movie after you get one movie.
Speaking of the suburbs, like you either hang out at the mall or you just hop theaters.
Yep, that's true.
Oh,
that's all it was. Anyway, that's my tab.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great. It was like a good, nice, like solid package.
Solid corrugated
pizza.
Board. Yeah. It's not cardboarded. It's corrugated.
Not flaccid. Yes.
It's not flaccid.
It's corrugated.
Rock hard tab.
That was a rock hard tab you delivered today. I like how a year ago I was like, we're not going to be gross we're going to keep it not gross. And slowly we've just gotten grosser and grosser. But you know what? I don't care. So
listen, that's just the way it went. You got to just roll with it.
Yeah. Roll with it. So speaking of shapes and geometry, well, it's funny when you said pizza because my whole tab today is kind of about triangles.
Oh, I thought it was going to be about pizza. I was really excited.
No, but you can pretend it's about pizza.
Okay, I'm just going to, in my mind, it's going to be about pizza.
Yeah. I also wore Triangle Man shirt.
Triangle.
Because today I'm going to be talking about Pythagoras.
Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, one of your favorite people, an ancient Greek man, who
love the ancient Greeks.
Didn't steal any of his ideas from anybody, not even all of them.
We need more ancient Greek representation. That's what we need in the media.
Here's right. We don't see enough Greek gods. We don't see
not nearly enough. Men don't talk about it enough. They need to talk more about the Greeks.
The tab I have for you is about Pythagoras and his death.
Nice.
And I found, don't worry, he's gonna die at the end of this. And you probably know his name from geometry class, from the Pythagorean
Yes.
theorem.
I remember the Pythagorean theorem. I don't remember what it actually is. I definitely remember
neither.
the name, though.
A squared plus B squared equals C
Equals
squared.
C squared? Okay, I do remember that, yeah.
And gun to my head, I wouldn't survive if you asked me what that was. Wouldn't know. Don't know what it is. Something about an angle?
Oh, I have no idea. This is an artist podcast. We're dipshits. We don't know.
Which is why I said despite it being the math with the most pictures, I never made it past geometry. So.
Look, here's the thing. People always said that to me, that they were like, oh, you're an artist. You'll like geometry. Geometry, I did not like because it was less precise and it gave me anxiety. But for some reason, algebra was a lot more satisfying to me. And I don't understand why.
Because it was a lot more straightforward. Geometry is like, we're going to talk about angles and
decimals. Oh, I hate decimals. Decimals drive me
Decimals
insane.
Suck. To this day, I don't understand decimals.
Yeah. Dude, just 1 or 2, round it up. I hate that shit.
I don't round it up. Who cares?
Yeah. I know I gotta add all these stupid little 3.41 whatever to this
thing in the decimals, and you know what I would do on my
give me
test?
letters and numbers, easy.
Yeah,
1A, 2B, whatever. Great, I can work with that.
A plus in the little thingy, the little things plus that times this equals this. Why?
Yeah,
X's.
Easy,
I don't know.
I mean, not easy, but you know what I mean.
None of it's easy, and it was
sense.
nice when I finally figured out that I have that literal learning disability. What's it called? Dyscalculia, which is like.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes, I have it. It's dyslexia for math, and
does that mean you see numbers backwards? I don't understand.
Yeah, or like get them mixed up. Like I will give my social security number for like my bank account, like constantly.
Oh,
like I don't like 2s and 5s. I always mix up 6s and 9s. Nice. I always mix up, and I don't know. And like I found out later, I'm like, oh, I had a learning disability. I wasn't just stupid. That's why I failed all my math classes. So unlike Pythagoras, I had a learning disability. This guy didn't, though. This guy was anyway. So apparently Pythagoras, or actually his name is pronounced Pythagoras. Pythagoras. But I'm not going to say it like that. Apparently he quote unquote discovered the theorem, but it was actually like proven through archaeology and other writings from Babylon that it had already been used thousands of years before classic Greek.
That tracks.
If anything, he just like kind of like
it.
popularized it in Greece.
Yeah.
Because of course,
this is the joke I used to like to make all the time.
Yeah.
He's the guy who found the TikTok video and then is reacting to it and pointing to it. And he was like, I have the 10 million views. Yeah.
All of ancient
Greece. That's all of Greece. All of Greece is just reaction videos
like,
and then getting more hits.
Check out this thing I stole from India. Look at these numbers I stole. Look at this. We can make a right angle now. It's like, bro. As I found out more about this guy, Pythagoras, who, by the way, we know nothing about. The only 2 things we know for sure is that he was born on the island of Samos, probably in the year 570-ish. Sure. And his father was a merchant. And those are the only confirmed things we know about Pythagoras.
Cool life, Pythagoras.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know.
one.
Do I hate him? I don't know anything about him, but I'm just feeling like I should be angry at him.
He's interesting. He's kind of that's the thing we don't know. He's kind of like this kind of like skeezy scumbag, but also not.
Did Mark Zuckerberg copy his haircut? That's the real question.
Probably. You know what though? Pythagoras is very Silicon Valley coded, as the youth say. 10 years ago.
Douchebag asshole, basically. Is what you're saying?
Yes, you'll see. So this island, Samos, was like this party island. Like everyone went there to party, and it had like this awesome tunnel. Exactly.
Yeah, tunnels.
And there was a tunnel on there. Besides being known as the triangle math guy, he's also known as the founding father of philosophy, mathematics, music, and astronomy. Which again,
nobody had philosophy before them. Yeah, I'm sure.
No one thought about anything before them, and he was kind of like first guy ever. Yeah. Hey guys, let's use our brains to think about why we exist. No, I don't
Persians
think so.
didn't do anything with math.
No,
not at any point.
Not at all. They didn't invent it. No one. I mean, that's the thing. Like you look at architecture from the Persian Empire and even before, it's all using precise mathematics.
The pyramids. Yeah. No, it was aliens.
The pyramids
you guys.
Are literal triangles. Like. You don't think they used an angle, like a formula for angles for that? Like, it's not me in geometry.
How prevalent this is. It's just like
it is.
We all just walk around like this is a thing, and they're like, this just lies.
The Greeks. Let's build our buildings to look like their buildings, and it's like thieves. They would also get all their like colors, all the colors, because those buildings, those white. I'm going to go on a Greek rant. Okay, sorry, I'm doing it. Ancient Greece, all those buildings were like bright colors at the time.
Yeah.
Was influenced by the Near East, which was influenced by Babylon and Egypt and Persia, and also their outfits and their food and everything. Anyway, again,
and their chic Domino's thin crust
and their
pizzas.
chic thin crust pizza. Look, we wouldn't have pizza without Persians. I don't know. I'm making this. Actually, that's true. Didn't they invent pizza? I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't remember that being a thing. It's possible. I don't know.
There was some.
I don't think pizza was invented till much later, as far as like the incarnation that we know. Because tomatoes didn't even go to Italy until like 30 years ago or whatever.
500 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like very late. Like the assumption, because like so much Italian food's based in with tomatoes, you'd think that they've been around forever, but it's
They're from the
relatively
Americas.
recent.
Same with potatoes. So like Europe and chocolate and tobacco. Europe was like, this is awesome. I know what we'll do. Yeah. We will ruin the world for these things. Ruin it. Okay, I can't go on another
rant about the Greeks. That. Yeah, God forbid your Persian co-host will get upset. It's called preaching to the choir, friend.
That's what I mean. Like, there's no use in doing this.
I'm not gonna stop you. I'm just gonna be like, yeah.
Well, there's gonna be some more things for my Persian co-host to get upset about.
To get angry about. Good.
So. Thank goodness. Don't worry. I
was almost upset that I wasn't gonna be able to get upset.
What is this? The first day of con when you didn't get upset at all and it like destroyed you as a person?
Listen, Chicago, you guys are a great crowd, but you were all very polite, and I didn't know what to do with my anxious energy because I couldn't let it out in anger.
He had nowhere to direct his personality. Except for at me.
Because everyone was just so lovely and nice.
Like, I will buy
and
your
supportive.
book. I love this. I love independent
I don't know what
artists.
to do with this.
Here's some money. And you just sat there like comatose. Like you, and then later I was like, he didn't complain at all.
I know. It was really bad. Anyway,
but
continue.
We got each other. We were like being horrible to each other.
We were.
That
a little bit.
Helped. A little bit. Anyway, so those are all exaggerations. He didn't invent any of those things, but he did popularize them to an extent. And just like every problematic white kid, he went to travel in Persia at one point and Egypt.
Interesting.
And he came back wearing Persian trousers and Persian shoes.
Cultural appropriation.
100%. And everyone was like, oh, what are these pants you're wearing? And he was like, they're from Persia. I met with Zoroaster himself, and so there was all
around
this
in 540 BC.
Actually, he was. Some people say he was. This is BC.
Oh, it's BC. I'm sorry, I thought it was AD.
So this is around the time of Cyrus. I think Cyrus the Great.
Yeah.
Is in this
My
time.
bad.
And so
I thought this was like 1,000 years.
You thought it was AD, yeah.
Yeah.
So some people say Zoroaster lived in this time. Some people say he lived 1,500 years before. It's just one of those things.
I usually think of him as much earlier than this. But
I think he had been around for a while.
Yes.
But there's all these claims that
he might have met like a guy named Zoroaster.
That's the thing. The thing. He was probably like,
I met Jesus too. I met a guy named Jesus.
I know a lot of Jesuses.
Yeah.
But so he says he met, or Plato says he met. Here's the thing. No one wrote about his life until like 800 years after. And so Plato was like, yeah, he met Zoroaster. Everyone's like, that sounds correct.
Yeah.
All we know is that he or one of his teachers did travel through Persia and Egypt and Babylon and all those places, and came back with some esoteric knowledge that had not been discovered yet in Greece.
Yeah.
He left the island he was on, and he went to this place called Croton, which sounds like crouton, but worse.
Crouton, yeah.
Breaded, and he started
dried and breaded, seasoned. Delicious.
Delicious crouton salad. Croutons? I don't know.
Croutons go in the salad. A crouton salad would be interesting, though. Yeah, you could just put just some dressing on a pile of croutons and just go to town.
When I was little, I would like sit down in front of the TV and with a bag of croutons and watch Batman. that was my afternoon. My brother was bigger into it. He would just like down a bag of croutons.
They're delicious. It's just dried bread. Good. That's all it is. It's just leftover. Like, I think croutons are originally, I could be wrong here, but I think they're just day-old bread that like dried out, and they're like, oh, just toss
Have you ever made
croutons?
Salad.
I've never made them, no.
Yeah, you just dry bread.
You just dry bread, and then it's crunchy, and then you put it into a salad, and it's great.
So remember, we're going to be talking about his death, which we'll get there, but I got to build up to why he died, why his death claim, which I never actually said. I was going to start with that.
His death claim? Oh, okay, sorry.
That he that he died because he refused to run through a field of fava beans because he believed they contained the souls of his friends.
Kind of a Hannibal Lecter ass shit is that? Like,
exactly. And then his enemies caught up to him.
Fava beans.
Exactly. I thought that the whole time, even though I've never seen that movie, but I've heard you say it enough. But he was running from enemies, and he apparently was like, I can't step on these beans. They're my friends. The souls of my friends are in them. And so he got slaughtered instead of running through a field of beans. So I figured out, I need to figure out if that was true, because that sounds insane. And this is my whole pathway to figuring that out. So
okay,
this is where the kind of weird parts of his life really start to take off when he's around 40, which it's never too late to start a cult.
My life's just gotten weirder and weirder ever since I hit 40.
And you do the Pythagorean thing and just start a cult, because that's what he did next. He started a cult.
Listen, I'm in the cult of eating an entire pizza by yourself every time you go somewhere and having 2 of them.
No one else is allowed in that cult.
Nobody else. I mean, you can be part of my cult, but you can't eat my pizza. You have to order your own pizza.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch my pizza.
All your pizza, you need to give to Kaveh as the cult leader, and he can redistribute it as he pleases, which means
is mostly
he will eat
into my belly.
Yeah, and that is sacred.
Yeah,
you can't. If you eat your pizza instead of give it, I mean, you're gonna go straight to Hades or whatever.
You're straight to the fava beans.
Farva. Okay, I'm okay. I want to get through this.
Farta beans. I'm sorry, continue.
Well, farting does come into this, actually. I was like, again?
Roland.
So he started this cult.
Yeah.
And this cult, they believed in this thing called metempsychosis, which is pretty much reincarnation, which at the time in Greece had not been a thing. The Greeks and the Romans and all them kind of believed that once you were dead, you were just in hell suffering.
Oh, okay.
Or dead, or like you'd go to the underworld and there was no like paradise or peace and
Hades or whatever.
Yeah, Hades. You'd cross that river Styx or whatever and just suffer forever, which is kind of metal, because then you make your life really worth living. But then I've always wondered if that like introduced like a fear of dying in any way. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he kind of brought this from India specifically. Got this idea.
I was going to say they're not
they're not the first ones to think of reincarnation.
Yeah, exactly.
So from his travels, he probably brought back, and wearing his Persian pants, just brought back some like interesting ideas about reincarnation. And he believed that of like the transmutation of the soul. So like when you die, your soul immediately hops over to a new life form.
This guy is such a culture vulture. He gets so canceled online if he had an account.
You have no idea.
Unreal.
And you know what? We don't even know if this is everyone's stories about him. So we don't even know if he did any of this. Could have been a different
Pythagoras. Imagine his apology videos? Insufferable.
He wouldn't even make one, because he believes that he has to take a vow of silence to enter that cult.
I see.
So he starts this cult. And at the time we call these things mystery schools.
Okay.
And they're not schools. They're more of like an intellectual and esoteric kind of hangout. So it's like you get together with your smart buddies and you just be like, what if beans had souls or whatever,
This is like a podcast, basically, is all it is.
It's a Silicon Valley podcast.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's like anyway. So he starts his own mystery school, and he's like, since we do believe in reincarnation, that means we can't eat meat, which was another weird thing, because no one was really doing that either. It was like this, except for India. Right. Again, he took...
Except for other cultures that have been around for thousands of years. But
chances are he took all of this from... And hey, he's the father of philosophy now, because he took a bunch of stuff from India and Persia. Yeah. Why was I surprised to find this about him? He was like king of vegetarianism, and he didn't let anyone in his commune, because it was a commune. They all moved in together. No one could eat meat. And most of all, no one could eat beans.
Why can't you eat beans?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out why he was like, no beans allowed. No one can eat beans. That's evil. It's bad.
He had really sensitive sense of smell.
Or like his stomach was, I don't know.
Some people just don't like beans.
Well, it was weird, because at the time, only fava beans were in Europe. There were no other kinds of beans. And so he's like, none of these. Don't eat any of these. And they took a vow of silence, and they had these like special symbols, all the cult stuff. All these little rules: put your right shoe on first, then your left. You couldn't leave, or they'd throw a mock funeral for you.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, you can't poke fires with your sword, and
what?
You don't eat food off the ground. And
you should not eat food off the ground, generally speaking. Why can't you poke fires with your sword? That's such a weird one.
It's lost to history. We just don't know. I don't know. A lot of it, I mean, if you're familiar with cults, a lot of it's just rules for the sake of rules.
This just sounds like I would start a cult and I'd be like, no talking on speakerphone.
No eating food off the ground.
No chewing with your mouth. It just is all things that bother me become the rules of the cult. They have
think
no
that's
rhyme
what
or
this
reason
was.
to it. Yeah, that's what
He
it
was
sounds
like, if you're all going to be in my cult, you can't bother me.
You are not allowed to wear sweatpants in public.
Yeah. Well, and some friendships.
That's my cult.
Moderation in all things, which, I agree with. They were super into numerology. And they loved the number 10 for some reason. And they were like, oh, women are even numbers and men are odd numbers. And they add it all up and figure out what was man and male and female. And they were also
gendered numbers. That's a new one. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, me neither. And then, of course, he did not take this from India, but just don't have sex very often.
Great. This guy sounds like an incel who has
absolute
who
incel.
Hates the smell of beans.
Prude.
And is nervous about fire being touched by a sword and just decided to make a cult that was all about his own idiosyncrasies and paranoia. And he's like, no, it's philosophy. Mm-hmm. That's why. Check me out. I'm wearing Persian pants. I know what I'm talking about.
Look at my cool pants. Everyone else is wearing a toga. And they're like,
argue with my pants. Yeah.
Whereas in Persia right now, they're in their golden age.
Yeah.
And this little Greek dude's like, whoa. They're like, we don't care about you at all.
Yeah, they're like, you took all the wrong lessons from this.
You just took pants from us.
Yeah.
That's literally it. They look cool. Yeah. And it's practical to wear pants. Idiots.
Pants are great.
Anyway.
Huge fan of pants.
Big
Don't
fan.
you hate pants? No, I don't hate pants.
What is that from?
Simpsons.
I'm sorry.
It's when Krusty is doing stand-up at Moe's and he's become a weird anti-corporate shill, smoking a cigarette on stage. And then I think it's Homer. Homer's basically like, oh man, I hope he tells us to burn more things because his pants are itching like crazy. And then Krusty's doing his act and he's just like, don't you hate pants? Because he just wants to take his pants off.
Part of your cult will be just reciting Simpsons quotes.
Yeah.
He also taught harmony of the spheres, which is just that math makes the stars and planets go around. And that same with music. He made this connection between math and music and the stars and music. And then he was like, maybe the stars and planets are just inaudible symphonies. And everyone's like, yeah, dude.
A nice way of putting it, though. I like that.
It's pretty, yeah.
It's a visual symphony of sorts. I like that. I mean, okay, so far one good idea.
Whatever he did, confirmed or not confirmed, he made an impact in a way that hasn't gone away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no one can really pin exactly when or why or if it was him, but this all got attributed to him throughout the years.
Yeah.
So this could have very well been several other people, and then they kind of just put it on him. Anyway, I got into this. Mm-hmm. Right. This guy, he was weird. He also got made fun of a lot. Everyone writing about him was like, this guy thinks beans have souls. And I started getting into why beans, you know?
Yeah.
I get animals. I get that. At one point he saw someone hurting a puppy and he's like, I heard that puppy scream and that sounds like my friend. You're hurting my friend. Stop. And the whole town was like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And absolutely roasted him.
Yeah, that's sad. You shouldn't hurt puppies. That's not nice.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
You shouldn't hurt puppies because they're puppies, not because they're your dead friend.
Right, exactly.
Do they have to have a soul of a human in it?
This whole idea, the whole construct of humans seeing themselves as separate from the rest of nature is just, it's funny. Another book I'm reading, it's what they're talking about. Yeah, it just is it's funny. It just hits on these topics where I'm just
we're animals.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah. I'm the hierarchy of I'm no, none of that. No, just live in harmony with things. What's that?
Is philosophy.
Interesting.
Thinking our way into thinking that we are above any of this.
Right.
And all that sets us apart is that we can think a lot about stuff.
Listen,
I don't know.
As somebody who overthinks all the time, undo it, dude. I don't
just undo it.
Take it back 6 steps, revert down to iOS, whatever, 1.0. I am tired of being on 16. I don't want this anymore. It's too much.
It doesn't even work. Nothing works together. You open one thing and it links to a different thing. I don't want that.
Incompatible. Too many programs
I just
running.
want to dig holes. Okay? Can we go back to just farming?
Yeah. I don't even want to farm, dude. That's way too much for me. Yeah.
I want to dig
holes a lot of work.
Put seeds in them.
That's
fun.
all
I want to do. I don't want to harvest.
I'm more of a gardener than a farmer. I like to tend to the plants rather than having to deal with crops. Crops
that's
is a lot
Sean.
of work.
See, I like figuring it out, like what will grow best in this and when.
Yeah.
Should we start a cult?
I think we kind of have. But we're terrible cult leaders is the problem.
We're so lazy. Everyone in the Discord's like ready to be part of a cult, and we're like,
yeah, they're just like, just lead us. And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't checked the Discord in 3 days. I'm sorry. I got distracted.
So this guy, I was trying to figure out why fava beans, and I found these links between fava bean plants and how they look, and how they're kind of compared to looking like a ladder. And that there could be some link to the ladder to the underworld. And
sorry,
that
I need to look up fava beans specifically why you say this.
And I don't really know why they linked their plants. I mean, the way they look, it kind of looks like you could climb it like a little ladder.
I mean, I wouldn't think that. Like the wild plant itself?
I think so,
or the actual,
yeah.
like the thing in the pod and all that?
The plant. So the plant, the fava bean. The fava bean plant at the time, I guess they said it was kind of creepy looking.
Okay.
Or like it kind of like evoked death, or it kind of looked like there was like a legend that said that you could climb it down to the underworld. So like
pretty metal. I like that.
Beans were, yeah, right. But there was also this theory that the human soul was made of air, or that
that's interesting.
Ethereal things were made of air. And so air is associated with fava beans because they make you gassy.
True. And it's like the soul trying to leave the body?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
So here's the thing. We don't really know exactly why they're associated with this. It's lost to history. So somehow I think people think that it's like maybe they associated the gassiness with like being unhealthy, or like it being air of the soul, and that maybe if you ate these beans and it got gassy, that was the soul that was like wrecking your tummy.
I could totally see that, especially like whatever 2,000 years ago or something, whatever it was. I'm like, I could see the connection there.
Mm-hmm. I could see it being, because also he was saying that you needed to eat healthy, and like I know that back in the day a lot of gut things were considered like you took care of your gut, like that was like in early America, they were like, don't drink any hot drinks because it'll be like damaging to your stomach. Yeah. And so, but there was all these kind of weird, old wives' tales about stuff like that. So I could easily see it being that way. And then I could see this cultist who was obsessed with numbers and souls and math and music just being like, dude, those things have souls.
Yeah.
And I think they're my friends. So we're not going to eat beans anymore. Don't even step on beans. And also, they kind of look like testicles. There was that theory too, that they were like, these look like balls. Even
I was gonna say also, it doesn't sound like this guy had a lot of friends to begin with.
He had a huge following, hundreds and hundreds.
People under the cult aren't necessarily his friends.
They're his followers.
Right? They're his followers. So who are these friends? So you're saying that everyone made fun of him, right? So I'm like, he doesn't have. It's like, who are these dead bodies that are in the fava beans?
But if
he doesn't have friends, right? So he's basically saying the followers are in there.
And we don't know if he had friends. We don't know anything about him. This is all attributed to him. I should have said, put like allegedly before all of this. But we do know that some of this knowledge did pass down, whether it was made up by Plato or Socrates, who also made fun of him.
I was going to say, this all sounds like a story that they were doing to make fun. Probably none of this is true. And Plato was just like, this dipshit thought a bunch of souls were in fava beans. What an idiot. I'm the real philosopher.
And now he's dead because he wouldn't run through a field of his friends.
Way to be dead, idiot.
Dummy. And he was made because also like vegetarianism at the time was like, what? Why?
Why?
And he was also kind of like this rock star. He's gone down in history as like this idiot and also this like kind of rock star that was like a son of a god because he had a birthmark that looked gold. Apparently there's a story that he went to the Olympics and was like, check out my thigh. And everyone's like, it's gold. And everyone's like, that means he's Apollo's son. And so that story kind of went like, where did that come from? And then everyone said he was like so hot, which also sounds like a huge lie. It sounds like one of his followers.
Also, they said he had a magnum dong on top of all of this.
He did a giant condom.
My magnum dong.
Mantis toboggan. He's just a veritable mantis toboggan of ancient Greece. So he's kind of this like empty vessel to put theories onto.
I'm just picturing him eating peaches.
It's going to be a very classy affair. What does he say about
Some guy gave it to me for going down.
I watched that one 2 days ago.
It's so good. Oh my
It's so
God.
good.
Sorry, I'm just derailing you. Continue.
It's the point. It's the point of this podcast.
So he's got a magnum dong that's covered in gold, which makes him the son of a king of a god.
They're like,
Sorry.
well, and then he was apparently like an oracle named Pythos, which is where his name comes from. Told his mom that she was going to have this haughty, buff, awesome, genius boy for a son.
Boss boy.
That's also probably... He's a boss boy who doesn't eat beans. He's a bean boy. He's a
bisexual bean boy.
Bisexual
bean breakfast boy.
I don't, here's the thing. He was also like, again, allegedly not fun. He just like wouldn't.
This guy sounds like every single thing that anyone needed at any point to tell a story about this guy.
It's exactly what Pythagoras is. Everyone's like, yeah, he did this. And everyone's like, yeah.
Cool.
And then there was, up until like the 1700s and 1800s, they still called vegetarians Pythagoreans.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they weren't called vegetarians until recently. They were Pythagoreans, which I think I might start using that because I too have a golden dick. And I too.
Yet again, another thing stolen from the Persian culture.
The Persians' golden dick, yeah.
Dudul tala.
And I just like knowing that this little dude, he probably was smart. He probably had some interesting ideas.
Yeah.
But everyone hated and loved him so much that they conflated all of those ideas into nothing or more than they are. And now we have a theorem named after him.
Man, I hate theorems, but I'm glad they exist,
too.
I guess.
And point is, he probably didn't die because he got slaughtered after refusing to run through a field of beans. Yeah. But he probably did die because everyone hated him and went to kill all of his followers. So they like raided his compound and they're like, this guy, get out. So no one knows how he died, but he probably died from being murdered or like he escaped the attack and died somewhere else. And but I'd like to think that he just didn't want to step on his friends.
Just turned into a fava bean.
In their little human bean bodies. There we go. Look at that.
Bean bodies. That's
human
fun.
Beans.
Yeah, human beans.
And that's my winding crazy tab on how I tried to figure out if he actually died from beans. And the answer is probably
Death by beans.
And the answer also is we don't know anything about him. And we also know a lot about him. And we also don't know anything.
I don't know what we'd call it.
I'm going to commit beanacide. What's that even
Beanacide.
mean? But there's the article that I'm linking has a lot of really other cool stuff that I couldn't go into, kind of like how he was seen as this huge, almost like a god sometimes, and how cults never change. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's true. Also, gut health never changes either.
Ever.
We're just as worried about it now as we were before, as we were 1,000 years
I've
ago,
got
as we
gas.
were 2,000 years ago.
It's the soul of my friend trying to leave
Soul of my
body.
friend trying to escape my body. I like that. That's what I'm going to say next time I rip a real bad fart and people are like, ew, that's gross. I'm going to be like, you're insulting the soul of my friend.
Yeah, it's like the soul of my friend just exited from...
Yeah, that's a ghost leaving. That's not me farting, okay?
Farts are ghosts of the animals
Farts
you
are Farts are ghosts leaving the body. That's a good sticker.
That is you know what? You're right.
It's a good bumper sticker. Yeah, farts are ghosts.
I'm here to say my campaign message, which is farts are ghosts. That's it.
Trying to leave the body.
Trying to leave the body. And Pythagoras was not cool. I don't know. Was a culture vulture.
Culture vulture. Awesome. Thank you for that tab. That was a lot of fun. I like dunking on the guy that apparently everybody else has been dunking on for 2,000 years.
Yeah. And also just assigning everything to.
That's the second gassy tab you've done in a row, which is fun.
I didn't mean to. I went into this not expecting there to be any farting involved until, of course, there's beans. And souls
I also did a kind of businessy one last week anyway. So this one's all about it was about Vietnamese nail industry and how that blew up. And this one was about pizza and how that industry blew up because of like a small invention. But anyway, that was fun. Thank you for that. Now we're going to come to the part of the show where we close our tabs. How are we? We can't do another fart. We did farts last week.
We're not doing another fart. How about we do...
steam escaping a box?
How about...
Pizzas.
Oh.
A soggy pizza slopping and falling off onto a piece of
How about a bag
plate?
Of pizza? How about someone just throwing something in a bag?
Like a crumpling bag sound.
A crumpling bag. Or... I don't know.
That's it.
Let's cook our tabs like a pizza. Put them in an oven.
That's a good one. All right, Alyssa, go crazy.
Ding!
You want to call it? You want to count us down?
Yeah. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Yeah, do like a sizzling sound, like a pizza.
All right, moving on to listener emails.
Yeah, you go first.
Our first email is from, I believe it was Seta. We met this person at C2E2, and I believe they said that their name was like Satan with no N. So I'm going to, that's what I remember they said to us. So I'm going to assume it's Seta if I remember correctly. But
okay.
Dear Kaveh and Hannah, incredible getting to meet y'all at C2E2. I work with dime novels, which are basically 19th century proto comic books. Captain Volcano is one of the many examples of queerness in the 19th century pop culture stories. It is rare in that the text explicitly describes Volcano as queer, parentheses, whether lesbian or transgender is ambiguous as a matter of history. Here's a quote. Being strangely unwomanly, not only in her appearance, but in her feelings, she had conceived that strange liking for other girls, which has been known in rare cases to exist in the female breast. Like a man, she had wooed and won other women.
Yeah, man, I remember that strange liking.
Dime novels are wild in that they show an earlier conception in American culture. There's the expected intense racism, imperialism, Indian genocide, and all of that. But there's also a strange sort of loving empathy for people that seem more absent in our media now. With much respect, Seta. And then there's I can send you the link if you want to take a
Yeah, I have it right here.
Oh, you have it. That's right.
Captain Volcano.
The image is pretty crazy too.
Whoa, these are old.
I believe it was from like the early 1800s is what they were saying.
Yeah. Whoa, this is so cool. Also, it is something that I've noticed, like reading about like early like queer people, that it was way more of like a whoa, look at this interesting thing rather than like a get them out of here. You know, it was almost like a curiosity in a lot of ways, especially transgender people back in like the early 1900s. Mm-hmm. Like there was that Christine, what's her name? The very like she got she transitioned in like after world. She was like a soldier, transitioned after World War II, and the whole world was like, you know, she's a woman now. Look at, you know, and they didn't misgender her. They like, it was this crazy phenomenon where it was more of a curiosity before it became something that people were insane about.
You know what that makes me think of is, have you heard the theory of, it was Mark Rothko and like, what's his name? Jackson Pollock and all the abstract expressionists.
Yeah.
So there's this like, it's not a theory, it's like a known fact that essentially the CIA helped push the idea of abstract expressionism after World War II. And the idea being that like it's meant to be seen as a counterpoint to fascist kind of communist dictatorships, and being like, America is so free that our artists can splatter a bunch of paint all over a canvas and not give it form, because that's how much freedom we have. It's part of like the cultural propaganda wars. And so I wonder if the Christine, you said was her name?
Her name was Christine. I can't remember her last name.
I wonder if that's part of it too, is just sort of like America's so free that you could just like, you know, have a different gender when you came back or whatever. Like, it's part of like propaganda. Right. It's like interesting that might have been, I don't know, I'm totally guessing here, but I wonder if that was part of it.
Interesting. So it was like, yeah, it could be, well, because there was also all that experimentation with like gender and sex at the time too, like the Kinsey scale and all that. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if that had anything. I mean, I don't know. Now I gotta open a bunch of tabs.
I mean, that was something I thought about doing at some point, but I just assumed that people knew that. But I guess not. It sounds like I've let the cat out of the bag of the tab. But no, also, it's part of the culture war, right? Cold War wasn't just about like, you know, spaceships and rockets and bombs. It was also a culture war to be like, no, America is like, and that's part of what pushed the art world in particular, like so into the abstract. And so into like crazy different things, is like literally the CIA has a hand in it, being like, okay, we're going to make sure that these artists get into like a lot of galleries throughout Europe and throughout part of the rest of the world, as like a cultural battle against the Russians and the Soviet
CIA,
Union.
If you're listening, we're artists, and you know, I'd help appreciate.
They also like to fake vampire attacks, as we learned. That's right. In the Philippines,
and overthrow democratically elected governments.
CIA was doing all kinds of stuff back in the beginning, but certainly not to say that those artists were not incredibly talented and that's you know, made on their own merit. But there's definitely a silent hand of just like, yep.
Yeah. Also, I'm sure because at the time, like in Germany, they were like that. They had that degenerate art museum.
Yeah.
And they didn't like all that crap. All the Nazis were like, this, you know, this experimental stuff, blah. And so I maybe after that, everyone's like, we're going to do whatever we want. And America pushed that as like, we will. And look, everyone's free here.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like a weirdly hopeful way of looking at it. But I'm sure that it probably wasn't. And they're being terrible.
If it was, they were in it now for something else. Yeah. By the way, it's Christine Jorgensen. So if you guys want to read about Christine Jorgensen, she was the first person to become widely known for having sex reassignment surgery. And
good for her.
Anyway, Yeah.
Also, I can't hear the name Christine without you and I screaming in Lee Russell's voice back and forth at each other. Just being like, Christine!
Christine!
Nobody gets my sense of humor.
You dirty. No,
Christine!
You can't say it. You dusty old.
Just being a dusty old queef.
I should watch that.
That's so good.
Well, that's really cool. I remember reading this person and being like, wait, what? 1800s, like.
It was awesome.
Kind of queer comics. Like, again, queer people have existed forever. All right, everyone? Not that we need to say that, but apparently we do.
No, apparently these days we do. Certainly not to our own audience, but yes.
Yeah.
And they continue to exist no matter what the government has decided is like what is one thing or another, or what someone's gender is or isn't, or again. Yeah. So woke today, but this is, like I said, I was angry when I was writing all this, and I'm just like, just leave people alone. Just
no one's hurting you.
It doesn't matter. It's not bothering you.
No, you know what is hurting you is fascists.
Yeah,
fascists are hurting us. That's what we should care about.
Oh, cool.
Not
I'm
if
a
trans
loser.
people
I
can
can't
use
spend
a
my money
bathroom.
correctly, so I have to ruin everyone's lives. Oh my god. Anyway,
Don't
get me started on the stupid witch lady.
What?
The witch lady? You don't know?
Oh, she must.
Witch,
oh.
Sorry, the wand people, the wand witch
Harry
lady
Potter?
with the yes.
Keep your damn mouth shut, J.K. Rowling.
Shut
That's literally
your hole.
all you have to do. Go away.
Go away.
Way to
no one likes
absolutely burn something that everyone liked.
No.
Whatever.
I mean, I
we
didn't
can
care,
edit
but
that out, but screw her. That was okay.
It's been a rough week in the news.
It's been one thing after anher all
really
year.
has. Yeah.
What's new? You know, fires, fascists, and doesn't matter. This is from Sarah F. Okay, this one's from Sarah, not your wife.
Not my wife, Sarah.
And Sarah says, "Dear Kaveh and Hannah, I really enjoyed the recent story about ancient graffiti." This is from last summer.
Oh, that's when this email was from, or the?
Yes.
Oh, you went into the archives.
I'm an archaeologist. Let me just softball that in here. So I often have tabs open about obscure facets of our shared human past. Per your Instagram story request that I do not remember, here are some interesting tabs about Basque aspen tree carvings.
Basque aspen tree.
Are you familiar
carvings.
with Basque?
I know the Basque people. Yeah.
So a bunch of them settled. I'm sure she'll get into it. You may notice that many of the carvings have a rather pornographic theme. And if do you have the document open?
Yes, I can
scroll to the very bottom and check out some of those images. Yeah,
some sexy ladies wearing socks,
garters,
and a naked lady with a hat, like a bowler hat.
Yeah, and then a crude drawing of someone having sex with someone else.
Somebody's doing it doggy style. They're going at it.
It just does. You know what? It's not a good drawing. Could have done better. As the person who at recess, everyone would say,
that's so Soviet Union, Hannah, because this doesn't look perfect and like an exact representation. Instead of being abstract, you've decided that it's not good. Gatekeeper. Sorry.
I just want to draw better porn than this person. Okay. This gold digger or whatever the guy was, a gold miner. Okay. So if you go on the YouTube, everyone, there's some pictures of naked ladies carved into trees. These particular settlers from the Basque region of Spain made their way out to the American West, like Chicago, Utah, Wyoming, and Nevada in the late 1800s for the same reason as everyone else, to find a lucrative niche. For the Basque, this became raising sheep.
Okay.
Basque shepherds were mostly men, and they were often isolated and alone with the flocks of sheep in the wilderness for weeks or months at a time. So what do you do when you're bored, lonely,
it's a love story,
horny, and are surrounded by trees that are easy to carve on? You draw porn, of course. Thankfully for us archaeologists who like studying the history of the American West, they didn't only carve porn images. We also get a lot of names, dates, and even birthplaces, not to mention some cool art. Additionally, Basques weren't the only people who carved stuff in aspen trees either. I also have. Don't ever do it, you guys. They're so fun to carve into because you put your name in it. I did it on a camping trip, and then you go back like 5 years later, and it's massive and like puffy and weird.
Growing.
Yeah, it's growing, and it stays for hundreds, maybe 100 years. I don't know. And Utah's covered in aspen trees, so they're just like easy to. Okay, so miners, explorers, homesteaders, Native Americans, park and forest rangers, and a lot of other people have all carved stuff in aspen bark in the past. Like rock writing and other historic graffiti, it was an effective way to communicate and leave a record. Once something is carved in an aspen, it will likely stay that way forever or until the tree dies. which leads me to my final point, which is to discourage people from carving stuff into trees. That's no longer necessary because we have the internet to communicate now.
Yeah,
Please
I
and
agree.
thanks, and also to find porn. So everyone just go to the newfangled tree, the internet, and there's some links. And then she says, I have a lot more interesting facts and tabs about archaeology, the American West, and trees. So you should probably expect to hear from me again sometime. Thanks for the great podcast. Best, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
That was
That's lovely.
Enlightening.
If you too have a listener email that you'd like to submit, please send it to 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500. Send us the link. Let us know briefly what you learned about and tell us where you're from. Additionally, we accept voice memos if that's something that you're able to do. Just trying to keep them around a minute, 2 minutes, and we'll pop them on.
And you can also follow us at 500 Open Tabs on Instagram and Blue Sky. You can follow me at Hannah Hillam.
And you can follow me at PermaFriends on Instagram and just Kaveh Taherian on Blue Sky. We're coming up to the end of the episode. Just a quick announcement. This is my final episode in this apartment. As I mentioned before, we're going to be moving out. So enjoy this beautiful background. We're never going to see it again. We're going to be in a new spot.
I have nothing to say to that, but that's exciting.
I'm going to take so basically because of the schedule of, my work and moving and stuff, I'm going to take a couple episodes. I wouldn't say it's really a break. I'm not going to be relaxing. It's just more like I'm going to have way too much going on. So rather than try and scrap together, in order to move and to be able to pay my rent correctly.
And to not lose his mind. Yeah.
Not to lose my mind. We're going to have a couple, I think the next 2 episodes, we're just going to have somebody fill in for me that are both fantastic. And we're very happy that they're able to step in. If you don't like me not being here and being able to co-host, go subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
And give us money, which will help me not have to do anything else other than podcasts.
Yeah.
But yes.
Cards, show my cards, show our cards here. But please, that'd be great. We would want to keep making this podcast. That'd be great.
Yes. But don't worry. I'm not gone forever. I'm just going to take a little time to sort of get stuff in order. And then when I come back, I'll be in the new space and hopefully everything will be set up. But so just heads up. I won't be here for the next 2 episodes. But we got some great hosts lined up. Yeah.
Good luck with that, dude. I don't envy you at all.
I don't envy me at all either. I got to say, like going from one convention to working straight through and then going to, I'm sorry, let me clarify. Going from one out-of-state convention, coming straight back to a bunch of deadlines, going straight into another out-of-state convention, and then coming back to a bunch more deadlines, and then also moving is, I'm at my limit. This is probably the most insane I've been in years and years and years. But I'm hoping that if I could just get through to the end of the month, once it's settled in the new place, I'll be, well, not great because no one's great, but I'll be slightly less tired.
But you'll be better.
Yeah.
You'll be able to contribute more stupid tabs to this mid podcast, as you say.
And I already have like 3 of them lined up that I wanted to do. And I was like, I'm too tired. I was like, there's a couple I wanted to do for this. And I was like, I just cannot. I just don't have enough energy to do the research. But I have some fun.
Today's was great.
It was
good choice.
Thank you.
Good choice.
I'm glad. I was like, I need to do something so I don't go insane after I came back from Chicago. But anyway, I'm complaining too much. But anyway, you good luck, Hannah, on your next couple episodes. I'm sure they're going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
You're like,
never done this before.
You've
never not been on this podcast. It's going to be a first.
It's true. I've never missed a single episode. So this is
because I was gone for my book thing.
Your book tour. Yeah, you were gone for a few. But you get to be the boss boy for the next couple of weeks. Enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to be in charge of making sure that things get delivered. I'm sure you're going to love it.
I'm the bisexual boss boy in town.
You're the bisexual boss boy now. Don't get drunk with power.
I am too lazy to. Unlike Pythagoras, I don't care about being in power. So, but seriously, follow our Patreon. I put a bunch of extra clips up there, a bunch of dumb stuff we edit out, dumb stuff, and some lore. And then we also have a YouTube and a Discord, and those are all linked in the show notes.
On the show notes. But so for the next couple of weeks, I will see you at the Gwen Stefani tribute toilet.
And I'll be waiting. So
in the toilet?
Yes.
Okay, fine. All right.
I will be waiting.
See you guys soon.
Nothing else to say. Bye.
Bye.